Alright, I hit record. Let's hit this thing, man.
Let's Doug Dimma do it.
Right, you want to bring us in?
Sure. Hold on, let me let me pull up the outline. I gotta remember what we're talking about first. Even though I did it. Alright, I'm ready when you are.
Alright. Let's do it.
Welcome everybody to the first of a new era of the Spillin podcast. As you can tell by our oddly different aspect ratios, which maybe actually you can't, and maybe it's just me. I don't know. It's a new era. We are coming to you live from Twitch. Actually, we're going to be live streaming episodes here now. Twitch, unlike Zoom, does not mandate ad breaks. Well, actually, it might for you. I don't know, in playback, but not in this version. So we're going to try this out, you know. We're trying to really lure those corporate sponsors in and make them come crawling back after all of our contracts expired. So we're here on Twitch. Jesse, it's a new era of the podcast. Hopefully that requires a little less back and forth from us on email threads. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling great, but, you know, I am going to miss our email threads. I feel like that's where you and I were really connecting, you know, on a deeper level, and you know, I'm dearly going to miss those times of us trying to send our 40-minute links back and forth and shoving our way too long episodes into these little segments. But I'm very excited. You know, I think this is going to be really cool for us to be able to bring on guests if we want to start streaming some video games, either individually or together. I think this is going to be a really fun opportunity. Just so you guys know at home, if you're listening to us and you are loyal listeners, we do appreciate you hitting the follow button for us. Getting us to 25 followers on here helps us get to affiliate level. We will definitely hit it with our streaming numbers as far as length of time. That has never been an issue.
Not a concern.
That has never been an issue for us, but we would greatly appreciate that. And obviously now, if you are watching this live, you're going to be able to interact with us through the chat, and we'll be able to, react to you in real time. So I think this is going to be a really fun segment and a really fun era of the podcast.
It's true. And very few of you, many of you listening to this podcast are learning for the first time that we even attempted this. So we wanted to iron out some of the kinks first, which if you are here with us on Twitch, you watched ironed out in real time. And but yeah, just like Jesse said, we wanted to give our loyal listeners a chance to have more of their say in the podcast. You know, like as if we're saying something preposterous, you could pile on in as one of us rakes the other over the coals. Or, you know, if we're saying something that you agree with, you can let us know. Or if we're talking about a topic you're interested in and we're not going down a path that you want us to explore, we're open to that. We will yap for as long as possible. If there's nothing else that we've demonstrated on this podcast, it's that we will talk as long as we feel up for. So we're excited to be a little more interactive here on the pod going forward. And we'll still be in all the usual spots: Spotify, YouTube, Apple Podcasts, all the usual haunts for people to hang out with. But we're also here to hang out with live. With that being said, Jesse, we're like 8 minutes into this thing. I guess it's time to start talking ball. We're going to hit some headlines first here. I hesitate to say this, but we have a slimmer podcast lineup this week intentionally. We'll see if that survives containment. I don't know. It never does. But Jesse, my first headline for you, we have just a couple, you know, areas, sports that were really hitting headlines, a couple NFL topics I wanted to touch on. How do you feel about the Jacksonville Jaguars playing their 2026 home games in Orlando? As an Orlando resident, I was interested if you had anything to add to that conversation.
I'm super excited. You know, if you know me at all outside of the pod, which anyone who watches this pod does, we don't really have, outside of our one Taiwanese listener that we had a few weeks ago. We love you. We hope that you're back. But you know how much I love the city of Orlando, and I've been advocating for more of a professional sports presence because this city really does rally around the teams that it has for being what, you know, it's, quote, I guess, a smaller market when it's considered sports teams. And I live close enough that I can ride the shuttle bus over to Camping World Stadium, a place that you and I have had some good memories in, whether it be the weekend concert or the abomination that is the NFL Pro Bowl that happens over there. And
I'm doing some heavy lifting on some of those.
Yeah, it's a tough time. But with that being said, I think this is a really cool opportunity for the city of Orlando to showcase that they can handle the big show, right? They have had some of their teams for a couple decades now. Orlando Magic remain as popular as ever in this area, but they've been really chasing that big fish. You know, they really want to have an MLB team at some point. And do I think a move for an NFL team is imminent? Absolutely not. But this is going to be a really good test for the city to showcase that they're ready for something more. And I think they're up to the challenge.
Is the cost of the Jaguars being the team worth it?
As a Colts fan, and I get to have my team once a year in my backyard, I'm going to say yes. But I mean, it would be hilarious if the Jaguars went off that year and had like their best season in franchise history.
It would be funny. I kind of think it's not going to happen because this is like September content for us. But they had kind of a strange offseason where I feel like they, right. And again, we don't have to get into the nuances of the Jacksonville Jaguars on April 2nd. But yeah, I don't know. It should be interesting. It'll be nice, I think, just for real meaningful football to be played in that stadium for fans in Orlando. Maybe if this is what it takes to fix your airport, I'm all for it. Your airport sucks. I'm sorry. It's garbage. And the sooner, if an NFL team playing there for 1 year can fix that, then that's what I'm rooting for as an outside fan.
The only reason you're saying that is that you did not fly in and out of Terminal C. Terminal C will change your life for the better. And then whenever you have to go back to Terminal A or B, and you got to do the little shuttle thing over there, and just the oldness of everything and everything being cramped. Terminal C is where it's at, and I stand by
Terminal
that.
E is the only is the primary terminal we fly out of, and it's hot garbage. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Ashlyn in the chat. You're going to accept MCO hate because it sucks. The only good thing about it is that the tram is in the center of the terminal so that you don't have to hoof it all the way down to the other side. But let me tell you, I was at the airport recently, at the Orlando airport at the crack of dawn, around like 8:30, and there were only 2 food options. The world's longest mobile order Starbucks or the Cantina, at which I was 19th on the wait list. Do better. That's all I'm saying. It sucks. It's not the worst airport, but it's bad.
I do agree with that, especially that gated area. I have had many anxiety attacks just trying to figure out anything to eat in that section. I know exactly where you're talking about because I have flown through there many a time.
I hope you're hungry for nothing because that's what MCO serves on a daily basis.
I will say the Sanford International Airport, where they literally just have one airline going in and out of there, and it's Allegiant, is such a premium experience just for the fact that there's nobody there. It's in the middle of nowhere, and it just makes me so happy. Mess with that. That's so
how I felt about the Birmingham. I think it's Shuttlesworth. Whenever I would fly out of Birmingham during my college years, because like nobody else is willing to fly out of Birmingham, so it's just you and the pilots just chilling, pretty much.
All right, our next headline we had is going to be the no Monday Night Football doubleheaders. Ben, how you feeling about finally not having 2 Monday Night Football games?
Yeah, I specifically placed this on here because I'm pretty sure we sold heavy on the Monday Night doubleheader in an early episode of our pod on our second favorite game, Buy or Sell. And I feel good about it, man. You know, maybe it's an old man take of mine, but 2 games in a row on a Monday night after having watched football all Sunday is a lot. And all Saturday, honestly, because I watch a lot of college football. I love ball, and I'm happy to watch it, but at a certain point, it's like I have other things going on in life. And the doubleheader on Monday was always just annoying because one of the games especially was just so late. Especially for y'all in the Eastern time zone. We're here in Central. At least we get the benefit of that hour. But I think it's a good move. Unfortunately, it's a good move by the NFL, which probably means that there's something bad coming because that's just how they like to do it. But I'm all for no Monday night doubleheaders.
Yeah, I mean, those late night games, and especially if you have like a fantasy matchup that's going down to the wire and you don't feel like you have any other option but to watch, and it's 12:30, it's starting to get ridiculous, right? And For me, that's the time, and I'm not asleep at that time of night by any means. I'm staring at the ceiling, wondering how it all went wrong. That's my nightly routine. But I need to have that time instead of sitting there and watching, the Raiders and the Chargers play a game that I really, frankly, don't care
You're
about.
watching like Emmanuel Wilson on a 3rd and 7 draw with like 9:42 left in a blowout because you need those points. Like it's bad football. One final NFL topic, I think. I don't know. I made this outline, but I don't remember. I think it is. Seems a little bit like we're barreling towards some replacement refs again in the NFL game. For those who haven't been following along, the NFL and the referee union are beefing over turf, as they love to do. And the NFL has explicitly started hiring and preparing replacement refs. Jesse, any worries or thoughts based on the fact that last time it went very poorly for everybody involved?
I mean, it's not like the NFL officiating has been top shelf lately anyway, so I'm not overly concerned. I mean,
no, but those are people that at least are professionals. Like, these guys are like chemistry teachers coming off the couch, basically.
Hey, don't be hating on teachers. We can do a lot of things.
There's nothing wrong with teachers, but you're not grinding film. Like, replacement reps, like that means you're not currently, you don't have the reps as bad as some officials are, right? And we'll get to some pretty bad officiating in a different sport in a minute here. At least they're pros. Like, I don't know. It's just another example to me of the NFL trying to squeeze every dime and marginalize the people that prop up success. Yes, shout out to Alyssa. Go Teachers. And I just, man, do you remember the replacement ref Hail Mary?
That was the greatest moment in NFL history.
And like we're just gonna do that shit again. Like, also shout out to Allison, Go Teachers. The Thule, all 4 of our chatters are Thule family participants.
They are showing out.
We might have to rename the podcast.
We really might. But no, in all seriousness, have you noticed there's been a massive increase in labor disputes in sports lately? Like, I know we get lockout chatter now and then, right? And you see it happen, but it just feels like everything's kind of coming together right now. Kind of a labor crunch.
It's just kind of I think it's a couple things. Players have never been more empowered across sports.
Yep.
And I think that we're seeing that in a lot of these labor disputes. I also think that some of it is coincidence of just some of these CBAs just all happening to kind of come up around the same time.
Yeah.
But I really do think it's player empowerment primarily, because if you think about it, obviously the WNBA, like those players literally never had any power ever, and now for the first time they did, and then we went through that. In baseball, I think it's a spending issue, and I think that it's a similar concept in the NBA, which currently seems to have like relatively healthy labor, which means that next year we'll be having this conversation about the NBA. But baseball, spoiler alert, probably going to get locked out after this season.
Probably.
Because they got a lot to figure out.
Salary cap and whatnot.
Which salary cap is probably coming.
Yeah, it needs to come at this point. And they got to curb the rules on the deferred money. It's out of control.
Yeah, I kind of have become radicalized now against the salary cap because I don't like limiting the earning potential of players, but I do think that there needs to be a salary floor, and I think there need to be harsher penalties for wildly surpassing, payroll limitations. Because baseball has like no cap, right? Yep. But they do have luxury tax lines. And like the Dodgers famously paid like almost $500 million for last year's team, but they don't give a shit because they won the World Series and they can just keep doing it. And they clearly don't care because they just added another premium crop of free agents. So like, I don't want to punish players by then owners being like, well, what was going to be 200 million is now 80 million because the mean guys said so. But I do think that part of the problem is also teams like the Rockies and the Marlins and the Brewers, for Christ's sake. I mean, they literally every offseason, the Rays are another example. Like, we applaud them for like, wow, look at these plucky teams with low payrolls. But the owners are also like actively like doing that. They're trading their top players before they have to pay them. The Tigers are literally about to trade the hottest pitcher in the planet because they don't want to pay him. Yeah. And I think that needs to happen as well. My idea, Jesse, start taking their draft picks.
Ooh, I like it.
if you could exceed the luxury tax
Yeah.
if you want, but you're not drafting amateur players.
Right.
In the third, this line means this draft pick, and so on and so forth, and maybe that would help, and then a salary floor.
And I like that because, I mean, that is still strategizing, right? If you want to spend all the money and get your guys, that's cool. That's awesome, right? You're
Yeah.
going to have a specific window, right, to do these things. But, do you give up a late first round pick in that? And I think that is a really good way to curb that. One more thing.
Sorry, I have one final thought on that. One of my extremely liberal takes right now. Well, I don't even know where this falls politically, but I think maybe it doesn't matter. I think we need to slowly, and I don't think we have to force them to sell necessarily, but maybe owners across sports that are not willing to spend to modern levels, sell your team.
Yeah.
And that's no disrespect to ownership groups that, the Bengals are a classic example. They never spend shit because their ownership is not rich like, the Bill Gateses of the world,
right,
or Steve Ballmer, the Clippers owner, or the Dodgers ownership. They just don't have the funds to keep with that. And it actively hurts the franchise.
Yeah, it does.
I feel like the Bengals could have won a Super Bowl by this point if they were willing to spend money, and
right,
they just have not. So my extremely radical take is kind of, if you can't keep up financially, sell your team, move on, pocket your $6 billion and walk away.
So I do have one more take on the replacement refs, and it's not really even a take; it's a story. So the first time we had this was Andrew Luck's rookie year. It was his first home game as a Colt, and I went to that game, and I remember it was just a disaster. They couldn't spot the ball, and it took them.
They were ass.
It was so bad, and I distinctly remember it took them about 3 minutes to figure out where they were spotting the ball, and the crowd was getting just ravenous at this point. And the replacement ref gets on and he explains their decision making, and none of it made any sense. And the cherry on top of it was that he blew his whistle and forgot to turn off his field mic to the PA system, so he blew the whistle into the stadium speakers, and then the crowd just went berserk because it was so loud. It was hilarious.
I forgot about that.
All right, our next topic here. We got baseball is back, and more importantly, we're talking baseball back. Is Mike Trout back, Ben? Is Mike Trout finally starting to come back?
I need to look at his stat line. Honestly, I had very selfish narratives in talking about baseball back. So I need to half a WAR already. Okay, yeah, maybe he's back. 2-6, hitting 261, 2 home runs. You know what? Good for Mike Trout. He has not gotten a hit since the 29th, so perhaps not. But his stat line is solid. You know what? It's better than it has been. As long as here's how Mike Trout is back, right? I don't even need him to be MVP caliber player anymore. I just want to see him play the season.
Right.
Be healthy. So from that matter, so far, I'm willing to say Mike Trout's back. You know who else is back, Jesse? The Colorado Rockies are back.
Were they ever here? How do you come back if you're never here?
Well, they played in a World Series. Okay, let's call a spade. You know, they were once a good team. Colorado Rockies, by the way.
Was that pre-recession?
Well, which one?
Oh.
So Rockies 2-4. All right, you hear that and you're like, that's not great. Trust me, you haven't been watching a lot of Rockies baseball. They did get swept by the Marlins to start the season. Super tough, but they lost all 3 of those games by 1 run. Then they clobbered the Blue Jays by 9. So at one point they were 1-3 with a +6 run differential. Lost to the Blue Jays again, but they just won the series against the Blue Jays. Look, I'm just saying, it is April 2nd, and usually the Rocky season is kind of over by April 1st. So I'm willing to entertain that the Rockies are back, baby.
Are you sure you want to be talking down the Blue Jays when half of our listening audience are Blue Jays fans?
Look, it's nothing against the Blue Jays. I still love the Blue Jays. It's just more that the Rockies have a pulse that has me excited. Oh, the run differential +3. You know, I'm just saying.
It's
also
plus.
the Marlins are 5-1 now. That's obviously they played the Rockies, so that helps. Never mind, the Marlins have played the Rockies and the White Sox, so that's the fakest. That's the fakest 5-1 I've ever seen in my entire life. White Sox, by the way, Jesse, through 6 games, -31.
Yep, that was on my list to talk about here.
That's it for Boston.
1 in 5. They played 6 games and they've been outscored by 31 runs. If you're not a baseball person, I cannot describe to you how horrible that is. And it goes back to what you were saying. At a certain point, when does the league step in? Because this cannot.
Here's the crazy part. They've scored 21. Like, they're averaging like 3.5 runs per game.
Are they putting a batting tee out on the mound?
52 runs in 6 games, which for those of you doing the math at home is 8.5 runs. The league does need to step in and make an example. The MLB needs to make an example of the White Sox in the same way that the Wizards need to be stricken from existence.
Yes,
in the
we'll
NBA.
get to them here in just a second. I do want to shout out the Milwaukee Brewers, though. Milwaukee Brewers off to a hot start, +28 in the run differential in that same amount of time. They are 5-1, a reverse White Sox, if you will. And really, I know they're a division rival of my Cardinals. Cardinals 4-2, by the way. Cannot wait for the 17-game losing streak.
Yeah, I have a coworker that's a Cardinals fan, so don't worry, Jesse. The only person who's going to know the same amount of Cardinals knowledge as you is me.
I cannot wait for the 17-game losing streak in the middle of May for the St. Louis Cardinals. It's going to be a movie, and it's going to ruin my life. But the Milwaukee Brewers have been a rock-solid club offensively to start the year. Do I think they're keeping that up? No, absolutely not. But very, very interesting to see them kind of just shoot out of the gate this way in a very opposite way of the Chicago White Sox.
Jesse, I'd encourage you. I'd encourage you to look at who the Brewers played in their opening series.
I don't need your narratives. I'm just going based off of my
just take a look for me, real. Do you know who they played?
I don't have a clue. I'm going to be honest.
I'm going to need you. I want you to do this live. Go look and see who they played. They scored 29 runs in those 3 games. Guess who they played?
Please tell me it's the White Sox.
It's the White Sox. And then they played the Rays, which is more respectable. But I did not know that until just, and I was looking because I was like, yeah, the Brewers 5-1. That's a crazy run differential. Oh, wait a minute.
Well, there's the run differential.
These narratives, in fact, these narratives are paired.
Incredible.
I mean, shout out to the Brewers. They just continue to trade off all their good players and somehow claw their way. They won the most games in baseball last year, which is preposterous. And then they traded one of their best pitchers.
Well, it doesn't help the fact that the NL Central is butt cheeks anymore. So
yeah. One other baseball take I want to. Well, there's 2. One of them. Well, there's a couple actually. Several of them are on this list, just out of order. You see, Bo Bichette got booed by the Mets fans in the 3rd game. That's tough, man. And he was like, yeah, I would have booed too. I'm kind of ass right now. And I'm like, yeah, I mean, that's fair. But the vibes are bad in for the Mets. They're 3-3.
Are the vibes ever good for the Mets?
No, but if you recall our MLB predictions show, I kind of need them to be at least above average.
Hey, Boo Bichette needs to win over the crowd here.
That's tough. Jesse, I'm going to jump out of order here because I meant to put the baseball ones together.
All right.
We're now about a week into the ABS era here in baseball. How are we feeling?
You know, it's something I've talked with my father-in-law Tim about quite a bit, is the pitch clock and the blow your kisses on your own time. I'm monologuing. All right.
Sorry, my wife is modeling for her weekend outfit off camera.
Very nice. But pitch clock and ABS have been something that I have been a proponent of for quite some time now. And I personally think it's great. I think there needs to be time. We saw it in the World Baseball Classic, right? The game between the U.S. and the Dominican Republic ended on a just horrific strike call, right? And because of that, it kind of ruins what was a really, really good pitching matchup, right? And now what do we remember about that game? We remember the strike call. It takes that piece out of the equation, right? And I do like the fact that in extra innings they get an extra challenge, regardless of how their other challenges have gone throughout the game. I think it's a net positive. They're working out the kinks right now, and I think once it's fully implemented and part of the game, we're going to wonder why we didn't have it. You know, it's going to be one of those things that I think over time is going to be a very, very net positive for baseball. And quite honestly, I think it's a really cool accountability piece for the umpires.
Yeah, I think it's necessary, especially when we live in this era now where the technology is so advanced that the fans at home. I don't think it was our guy CB Buckner, but did you see the call the other day? It was literally like a dead heater down middle, and it was immediately. He called it a ball, and it was immediately challenged. And I think it was the quickest challenge I've ever seen in any sport.
It's so
because
funny.
It's like, all right, let's see where the ball is. Yep, right over the heart of the plate. That's a strike. I think I love it. I think it's important to have mechanism, especially in baseball, where it's so like quick, and those calls really matter. I think it's important to have that mechanism to fix it. And I'm encouraged so far. I do agree. I think that it's one of those things that we're going to be like, wow, can you imagine? Like, can you remember the time when we just had to live with these calls? I saw this TikTok compilation the other day, and it was like announcers calling strikes down mid that were called balls, and it was hilarious. Because they were so perplexed, and now that we just don't have to do that.
Well, and I think it's going to cut down on the number of ejections too. And
right
when you go to a game, when I go to a Yankees game, I'm paying to see Aaron Judge, right? Maybe that's not a great example because he's only been ejected once ever, but you know the concept I'm talking about, right? Kyle Schwarber has gone nuclear on a couple umpires within the last couple of years, deservedly so. He's been right every single time. But I'm going to see these guys, and baseball tickets are not cheap anymore. They're not, unless you're a White Sox fan and they're paying you to go. Right? They're paying you to go at that point, but that's a different conversation, right? But in this scenario, right, it keeps guys in the game, it gives the accountability piece, and honestly, I think it's an awesome piece to have for the fans, not only at home, but in the ballpark as well. They get to see it in real time. There's no going under the hood. There's none of that. You get to see exactly what it is, and you can't argue it. I think it's a wonderful, wonderful piece.
Miami Marlins opening day tickets, by the way, were $17. The Pensacola Blue Wahoos. Today, minor league baseball opening day, by the way. Huge national holiday. Pensacola Blue Wahoos tickets, $18 for opening day. So it's, in fact, more expensive to go to the AA affiliate than it was for opening day for the major.
I mean, to be fair, as someone who's been to a Blue Wahoos game,
it's a gorgeous ballpark.
Yeah, it's a gorgeous ballpark.
If you're listening and you live in the Pensacola, Florida area, May 21st, buy tickets, PensacolaHabitat.org/tickets. I'll be the Roach running the base.
You're doing the Roach again? I love it.
Doing an ad read for my work. All right. We mentioned him by name. We have to talk about CB Buckner. He sucks as an ump. He had 6 successful challenges against him, and I think it was opening day. And then the other day, I think, what was the game he was doing? I think it was Rays Brewers. And the runner, it was like a routine, like infield single, and Buckner said the runner was out because he claimed that he didn't touch first, and then like the replay was like so obvious, like it was literally routine, like it wasn't even a bang play,
so
like
bad.
He literally just ran across the bat. Then that guy ended up stealing second and scoring later that inning, by the way. Would have been out in any other year. So this is like I guess it's around the horn that used to do like cheers and jeers.
Yeah.
So this is, I guess, just I wanted to jeer CB Buckner quickly.
Yeah, I would trust a prostate exam from Captain Hook before I would trust CB Buckner to call balls and strikes or really anything on a baseball field. He has been a disaster for years, and I think he flew under the radar for a long time because everyone was always hating on Angel Hernandez, which also terrible umpire, but
God, Angel Hernandez walked so CB Buckner could get exposed by ABS.
One of my favorite things ever was I was watching a spring training game. It was the Cardinals' first spring training game, and the first pitch that the Cardinals pitcher threw was right down the middle, and he called it a ball. And the Cardinals play-by-play is like, well, Angel Hernandez is in midseason form already.
It's like the joke, like the bit that's like nightmare blunt rotation, and it's just Angel Hernandez behind home plate, CB Buckner on first, and for some reason Tim Donaghy is calling third base into the field. For some reason, across sports, it's like, all right. Sick.
Oh gosh.
All right, our next headline here, and this, there's so little information available about how it's going to look tomorrow that we can't even really talk that much about it. I just wanted to note it. Tomorrow there's a WNBA expansion draft, and 85% of the league are free agents.
Yeah.
So I have no real idea. My understanding is that teams can protect up to five players, including active free agents, if they're, like you can't go over and be like, "Hey, Brianna Stewart, I want to protect her, but she's didn't play for my team." It's your own expired contract. But it's fascinating to me because I really think it's going to be extremely difficult for the Toronto Tempo and the. Why am I blanking on the second?
I just saw it too because I was looking at it.
Team. Well, that's embarrassing. The Toronto Tempo and the Portland Fire. Sorry. Yep. Yeah, it took me a second there. I don't know how they're going to build teams, candidly. It's basically like the idea of an expansion draft, but the only players that are realistically going to be available to you are just kind of like role players, which is usually how it is, but usually you get some big name players. I don't know. We really have no idea how it's going to work. And they have to do this expansion draft tomorrow, and then the actual draft is in 2 weeks. And then free agency, and then the season starts immediately after. So they're probably going to be two of the worst teams to ever touch the WNBA floor this year. But that's super exciting that we're expanding once again after the Valkyries entered the league. And, Enrique Ogunbowale is about the only marquee player that I've seen rumored to potentially be available in this draft because Dallas just may not want to pay her. So it's fascinating that we've got this absolute explosion in player salary. Every player in the league basically is a free agent, and two teams are drafting from scratch.
It literally is almost like a
Wild West of basketball.
Yeah, and it's as close as we're ever gonna get to playing 2K and just doing a fantasy draft. This is the closest we're ever going to get.
Say that.
Yeah,
this is as close as it will ever be in any sport to Now, a lot of players may, it could end up being a lot of sizzle and or a lot of smoke and not a lot of sizzle. Players could return, but there's just an unfathomable explosion of cap now, and so truly no idea how it's going to work.
The one thing I did want to highlight on that, did you see the Chicago Sky got out of? Yeah, they were able to finesse themselves out of the expansion draft by trading 2 future second-round picks. That is actually a really cool concept to me. And I think,
I've seen the Chicago Sky roster. I too would be not wanting to be picked apart.
And honestly, looking at it from the expansion team's perspective too, it's actually a pretty savvy deal because again, like you said, with all these players being free agents, it really complicates being able to draft. So you're going to have to end up polling and try to develop some players. Now, second-round picks, they miss more than they hit, right? And that's just the nature of a second-round pick. But you need bodies, right? And at this point, I think that might be the best way for them to go. Like you said, they're going to be pretty bad. But on the off chance that
really bad.
On the off chance that one of them ends up hitting, I think you take that risk, especially considering things. And then a savvy move by the Chicago Sky, being able to kind of get themselves out of it. I've never really heard of that being done, and I thought it was really cool.
I don't know that I super buy it from the expansion team's perspectives, but I definitely buy it from the Chicago Sky's perspective. I mean, literally this roster is so loaded that Haley Van Lith is maybe not going to play a lot. And she's a relatively high profile player. Just an obscenely talented roster. It's honestly crazy that they don't win more games. I mean, their post presence is just probably, their post depth is not the best. But I don't know. They're so talented that they could trade Angel Reese tomorrow and probably just be fine. So anyway, stay tuned. If you're a WNBA fan, buckle your seatbelts. Next couple weeks are going to be crazy.
We got a lot coming up.
If you want to talk about, I'm talking about the Chicago Sky being obscenely talented. You want to talk about a team that's not. That is the United States men's soccer team. They are bad. Very bad. They also want to shout out some other listeners here in the chat. Penguin with a J, listening from the car. Love that. We do have a YouTube channel. It's at Spillin It Pod. And shout out to Banji being a Russell Westbrook fan. Russell's still an all-time great 2K player. Love that. United States men's soccer team is kind of trash.
It's very
I don't know
trash.
that we need to have a ton of nuance to talk about it here. I just wanted to kind of bemoan the fact that we're going to limp into this World Cup next year.
And
Devin Booker fan, I respect that, Elon.
it really is frustrating to me. I think the point where I finally became fully disenchanted with the U.S. men's soccer team is that loss to Panama in the Gold Cup a couple summers ago, where Tim Weah just out of nowhere decided he was going to punch a dude, got himself tossed out of the game, and completely ruined that entire tournament for everybody. And when is the last time you watched a U.S. men's soccer team where you're like, they're playing with a lot of heart, right? Like, when's the last time that you saw that happen?
Did you see Pochettino's comments where he said he didn't think we had a top 100 player in the world on our roster?
That's brutal.
Which you don't hear coaches or managers say that kind of stuff a lot.
Bro, we suck.
I think Pulisic is probably a top 100 player, if we're being real. He's in the 90s probably, but he's
top 100. I'll give it to him.
I thought that was crazy. All right, Jesse, I have one more headline for us to talk about here before we get into some of the meat of our podcast here. Dude, we got to talk about the Wizards' April Fool's
Oh my
Day.
gosh.
Yeah, did you see this?
I did. Yep.
Okay, so for the listeners who maybe didn't, the Wizards, who are just actively garbage, did a April Fool's skit, which I later learned that everybody was in on it, but it's still just like such an own goal. I don't really understand it. They did this whole thing where, a guy comes onto the court, shoots a blindfolded shot for a chance to win $10,000 yesterday on April Fool's Day. Completely whiffs. The crowd, they have everybody cheer and react like he made the bucket. And so he's like, oh my God, I just won $10,000. And then they're like, dude, we just lied to you. We're yanking your chain. You actually whiffed. You do not get the $10,000, but you get a side jersey. The internet's like roasting them because they're like, dude, imagine going to the Wizards game and then having this shit happen. And then the Wizards, so they got roasted so bad that the Wizards put out a statement being like, hey, so that was an April Fool's Day joke. Like, everybody was in on it. Ha ha ha. And like, maybe that's true. But also, like, what was the goal here?
Right. Either way, if it wasn't a joke, that is awful.
If it wasn't a joke, that's all-time bad.
And if it
wasn't a joke, like, what's the benefit? Like,
right,
is that
who
entertaining?
wins in this situation, right?
I don't feel like that's of any entertainment value.
No, and I mean, it's bad enough if you're at a Wizards game, you've already sunk to a pretty decent low, right? If you're at a Wizards game, it's a cry for help, frankly. But
if they want to see a brick shot, you can just resume the action. Like, you could just have the players take the floor again. Like,
they saw enough of it with Jordan Poole before he got traded to New Orleans, right? They saw plenty of bricks where they had to fake and pretend like they enjoyed it.
I just wanted to note it on here because we're noted Wizards haters.
We really are, and I don't really know how that started, but here we are.
I can tell you exactly how it started. It's because Jordan. It's really, honestly, it's all Jordan Poole's fault. Even though,
for those of you new to the pod, this has been
This
has been an oddly Jordan Poole hater pod for some reason. I'm not really sure how it started, but it has been a mention in all 18 of our episodes.
I think it's because we both, independently of each other, did the fake tweet about Jordan Poole being punched by Draymond Green, and then we happened to just attach ourselves to the Jordan Poole slander from there. All right, Jesse. I think it's time, to update our viewers on our bracket challenge. Since we didn't have a pod last week, which honestly worked out fine. We would have been in the middle of some games.
Yeah, I don't know how much we would have talked about anyway.
So, for those new to the stream, which we might have a couple people, just peeping, we did a bracket challenge for the men's and women's NCAA tournaments, where we basically gave y'all the chance to prove that you know more than we do, or not. We'll see how it goes. And for some of you, you do know more than some of us, and for others, you don't. But we're gonna just check in here a little bit. I've got the men's tournament pulled up right now, and unfortunately, there's not a name here. I gotta assume this is one of my family members because they picked Purdue to win it all. But whoever ESPN fan 820-49910, currently you're winning. You are at 960 points, which is the 99.4 percentile, which is preposterous. Congratulations on that. Unfortunately, you have ended your point total. You will gain no more points which means that it's really going to come down to one of the next couple people. I am in second place with 860 points, 93rd percentile, but I still have a max of 1340. This is the best bracket I've ever done, by the way. I thank God we did this challenge in a year where I actually looked like I knew what I was talking about, because normally my bracket is ass, but not this year. I am only 20 points ahead of, and my champion is Arizona. It's still alive. Ashlyn, your wife, Jesse, actually in third place, 840 points, 89th percentile. Her champion, Florida, we don't need to talk about.
Nope.
But she has a max of 1,000 points left. I don't know. I haven't looked at the predictor. I guess I should look at the forecast. Ashlyn, I'm sorry. You actually have a 0% chance to win. Never mind. Congratulations on a great bracket, but you can't win. So I can win. ESPN fan, the person in first can win if Michigan reaches the national championship, because that means that Arizona does not. And then the only other person, third, Ashton's in third. Fourth place is my stepfather-in-law, Brian, who has 800 points, but has a 0% chance to win. The only other bracket that can win, who has a 33% chance, I have 48.7. Purdue, our ESPN fan, has 18.3. My mother has a 33% chance to win. If Michigan wins the tournament, she will win the Spillin It Pod men's dirty bracket. Shout out to Susie Boy for the picks. Great year for you. Alyssa Purdue lost. You don't have to worry about them anymore. They can't hurt the basketball school to your football school. I guess can't hurt you because IU basketball's ass.
Wait a second. How do we have another one that's Boynton Bees picks 1 if you are the other one? Is that Cheyenne?
I'm not Boynton. I don't know who Boynton B is. I think that's my dad. That's why I'm confused by ESPN fan 82449. I don't know who that is. I genuinely, it might be my sister, but I don't think it is because she has a different name in our family bracket. So I have no idea who. Identify yourself, please.
If you are here, please tell us.
I'm just curious who this person is. And then a quick flip over, Jesse, to the women's bracket. How do you feel like your women's bracket did?
I mean, it couldn't have been worse than my men's bracket. This was the worst bracket I have ever had in my entire life.
Pretty bad. Jesse wasn't dead last, by the way.
I will finish in dead last.
I hated to see it.
Where did it go wrong for you? I don't know what happened. I really don't. This was the year I felt like I did the most research for it too, instead of just going off the vibes.
Oh, that's your first mistake.
That was my mistake. I was like, oh, I got a podcast. I got to know what I'm talking about. Nope, that was horrible mistake. But overall, I think my women's bracket, I had some misses along the way, but I did get 3 out of my 4 Final Four on that, and I am happy about it. And it ended up being...
That's what happened.
And it ended up being kind of exactly what we thought. It's going to be top-heavy. The women's bracket is typically a lot more top-heavy. But with that, our current leader with a 97th percentile and the heavy favorite to win this, max points 1750, is going to be the bracket Iowa with the letters IOWA. Incredible.
My stepfather Brian, yeah.
Incredible run. Has Texas as the winner. Second place again was the ESPN fan 82049910. Beautiful name, by the way. Is that Dutch? I don't know. But in second place,
identify
had
Notre Dame.
Had Notre Dame. Ben is in third place. Has a solid chance with 1630 as a.
I actually have 0% because
really.
Where
do you?
Well,
see
because
that?
I have the same national champion as Iowa.
Gotcha.
So I have a 0% chance to win.
So ironically, the person with the highest chance to win is my wife Ashlyn, with a 45% chance of winning, because she's got UConn up there.
Yeah, shout out to Ashlyn. A great year for you, Ashlyn, in these brackets.
Yeah, she stomped me into the
Your
ground.
path to win, if UConn wins it all, you win, which ESPN is giving a 45%.
Yeah, if UCLA wins, I think I got this, though. I think they got this. Man, they have updated this app. This is cool.
820-49910. That's not you. You're horny for hoops. Sorry, my wife is trying to. My wife is trying to determine if she was the leading bracket narrator's voice. She's not.
Cheyenne.
But Cheyenne is on the. Alyssa said hi earlier, by the way, in our chat. So yeah, Jesse, you're live here in
I'm
fifth
alive.
place. You got a 19.7%
I need
chance to
UCLA to
win.
pull
You
through.
need UCLA to pull through. And you ESPN fan, if South Carolina wins against UCLA, which is an oddly specific matchup, but then that they get there. I wanted to just give a quick shout out to myself for willing Notre Dame to the Elite Eight. It's about the only thing. My women's bracket was fine, like you heard, I was up there, but it's about the only time in my life that personal bias has single-handedly willed a team to success in the postseason. Because there was literally no reason to get there. Yeah, that's what we got going right now. That's me to me. Because Niall Ivy, you need a win in your personal life right now. Congratulations on your career life. I can't imagine the family group text is going very well right now. But, congrats on the postseason success.
All right, Ben. I guess, what are some of your favorite games or moments across both tournaments?
I gotta be honest. This was I mentioned to you before we got on that we have a segment coming later, and I wasn't sure if I really had a lot to contribute to it. I am gonna kind of trot out a take here.
Okay.
This honestly, I think, has been one of the best men's tournaments in quite some time in terms of entertainment value.
I agree.
I think there have just been a preposterous number of good games, like a truly preposterous number of good games. Instant classic type games that I'm going to remember for a very long time. St. John's, Kansas in the second round was an insane game. Mm-hmm. Obviously, we have the all-time buzzer beater from UConn against Duke to make the Final Four, which is the first buzzer beater, I think, or the first shot of its nature. I think it's the first three-pointer in the final second to take a team to the Final Four, like, ever, which is crazy.
Just incredible.
The Texas-Purdue game was also kind of an instant classic. That was amazing. Texas's run in the tournament featured a lot of last-second game winners. The Arkansas High Point game was really good.
It was a great game.
High Point's upset of Wisconsin was monster. I'm literally just scrolling through the bracket, remembering all these elite games.
I'm like, oh yeah, that was a good one. That was a good one.
I think that the Kentucky-Santa Clara game was nuts. That final 5 seconds of regulation where Santa Clara hits a long shot to take a lead and Kentucky just goes down and answers to go to overtime was preposterous. I think that the VCU North Carolina game that went into overtime was also insane. That huge comeback by VCU that got Hubert Davis fired. Vanderbilt, Nebraska, another elite game where we had a Gordon Hayward type shot that rimmed out. Florida, Iowa. I mean, just you go down the line. Michigan State, UConn was a really good game. Just a lot of good hoop. Duke, St. John's, even just a lot of good hoop.
Lots of great games.
Those are on the men's side. What about you, Jesse?
On the men's side, I obviously had the buzzer beater. Just one of the coolest things I've ever seen, I think, on a basketball court. Just such an awesome story. But I want to give a shout out to Siena in the first round, 16 seed. Made Duke sweat a bit there. Jerry McNamara, head coach, absolute madman for playing his starters the entire game without a single second of rest. But man, for a second there, we all were kind of just like, maybe. And there was a certain point. I love a good underdog, right? If it comes down to it and it's close, I want to see history. I want to see the things happen, and it's super enjoyable. But want to give a shout out to them. I think now that the tournament has continued to progress, people are going to forget about that performance, but it was a really, really good game in a matchup that should not have been a good game. On the women's side, I do want to give a shout out to Ashlyn Jackson for Duke hitting that buzzer beater 3 to take down LSU. Absolutely incredible shots. Women's tournament's been a lot of fun too. But yeah, like you said, just a really fun year of hoops for the college game. And I think, a lot of people hate on the transfer portal, hate on NIL, but I do think in this case it's making it more interesting, right? I think we're able to see more parity.
I think a couple quick women's games I wanted to highlight. I watched the Virginia-Iowa finish, which was just insane. Yes. Huge upset. from Virginia, taking down the 2-seeded Iowa Hawkeyes. That was a super fun finish. I also watched Alabama-Louisville, a 6-3 game in the round of 32, which obviously didn't go my way, but was a really good back and forth game between two teams that were just playing at a high level. Kentucky, West Virginia was a fun finish on the women's side as well. It's a 1-point win for Kentucky. You already talked about the Duke shot against LSU. That was a really good one. The women's tournament has not been quite as competitive, which happens sometimes. But in a similar vein, it's not as exciting for most viewers to watch like teams dominate. But man, the top 4 teams in this tournament, all of the 1 seeds are in the Final Four. They have just all looked so good that I think they're set. I think we have just a truly stupendous Final Four coming here on the women's bracket that I think is going to make everything all worth it. It's going to be just absolute cinema.
Alrighty, and let's talk about the Final Four previews. Shout out to UConn, Basketball U right now. Absolutely incredible programs.
I hate it for Dan Hurley. But...
Right. But...
Headbutting refs.
Dude's kind of crazy, right? I think you need a little bit of that. But shout out to UConn Basketball U right now, and until somebody knocks them off, I don't really see anyone else being able to argue that.
The double Final Four is impressive.
It's crazy. Michigan looks good offensively on the men's side. They look really, really good offensively. But I have to make an apology here. Illinois, I disrespected you on our bracket. Shout out. You guys have absolutely...
Some of us had them in the Final Four.
You did. And that's why I am dead last in our bracket challenge. And
UConn's the only team I don't think I... No, UConn and Michigan. I didn't have Michigan. I had Michigan.
But Illinois, excellent. I mean, going through a pretty tough region as well, and just played really good basketball all the way through. So shout out to the Illini, and I think we have 2 awesome Final Fours coming.
Yeah, interestingly, I'm looking at the men's lines right now, and then I'll look at the women's. Illinois and Michigan are the betting favorites right now, which I think is kind of surprising to me, as Arizona is, I think, mostly... I mean, Michigan has looked pretty dominant, but so has Arizona. The way that they just took apart Purdue in that second half was something else to watch. I don't know. It's so hard for me to pick. I'm still sticking with Arizona because I think they've looked like the best team in the tournament in the country. But man, that Illinois UConn game, I don't know. I really don't know, because I think that, I mean, I projected UConn. I picked UConn to stumble, and they just haven't. They've been very resilient all tournament long, and Illinois has also just taken care of business and handled teams. So that game is going to be fascinating to me. I think I still am thinking Arizona probably over UConn, because I just am scared to pick against UConn at this point, because they just like don't die. So I think on the men's side, I'm thinking Arizona over UConn. I think on the women's side, as much as I would love Texas to win it all, because that's what I picked in my bracket and that would make my wife very happy, that UConn team is scary.
Yeah,
I feel like it's probably UConn over Texas. I think Texas can beat UCLA. That's going to be battle of the towers there. Some Lauren Betts and Madison Booker for Texas. But this is as fun of a Final Four as I can remember. There's no clear, like, your magic runs out here matchup. Just truly some good hoop coming our way.
Good ball coming our way. All right, let's transition. And this is really weird for us, because typically at this point we usually have to take a break on Zoom because we don't want to pay for premium Zoom.
At this point.
But we are going to be able to just transition right into our fun segments, and we're going to start it with our playlist game. If you're new here, the playlist game is something that we do pretty much every episode, where throughout the week Ben and I will give each other a phrase, and we have to build a playlist based off of the phrase that we gave it. And there's really no rhyme or reason as to what the phrase is, and most of the time it's complete nonsense. And
often there's a startling lack of.
Correct. And I think that lack of context really makes us more creative in that scenario. So with that being said, I'll go ahead and start. And the phrase that I was given was "Hickory dickory dock, man, that really rocks." And
yeah, I forget. I also forget instantly the phrase I give you.
It's as soon as it's sent through the phone, it exits your consciousness. I
just don't retain it. It's weird.
So with that, I got a mixture of some different rock music here, and starting off with some older, I went into modern in the middle, and then went back to some more classic. So a little bit of Benjamin Button-esque kind of stuff that we're going with as far as the timeline goes.
Sure.
So to start off, I went with "I Wanna Rock" by Twisted Sister, just a classic rock and roll song, and sets the tone for the rest of it. And I cannot pick that song and not follow it up with this next one. I have the Goofy Goober Rock from the SpongeBob movie. And,
I mean, Soul Sisters, really.
You know, listening to it back to back really makes you appreciate both of them. They are both art in their own way. And it's about time that we acknowledge Goofy Goober Rock as one of the greatest rock songs of all time. The third song, I have Gimme Shelter.
Can I pause you in the middle of your playlist?
Sure.
This is kind of like cringe, but gun to your head, Jesse.
Yes.
Goofy Goober Rock or Sweet Victory?
Ooh. I'm going Sweet Victory.
You have to.
I have to.
But you have to think about it. That's the thing.
It gave me pause. But Sweet Victory was around first, and frankly, the build-up in that episode to that moment is so unexpected. And I don't know. The movie, I've always had an interesting arm's length relationship with the first SpongeBob movie. I think it's fantastic.
Arm's length relationship.
Yes. It's over here. It's over here, right? I love it, but I'm not like pining to watch it, right? I'm going back and watching the show more often.
This is hilarious.
You asked the question.
I know, but I didn't expect the answer to be like it's cool, but we're not like too cool, you know. Like it's like an acceptable amount that I like it. Don't get it twisted. I'm not like obsessed or anything. Like it's fine. It's whatever. But like I'll watch.
So the third song on this playlist is "Gimme Shelter" by the Rolling Stones, which is, now that I'm looking at it, is a wild turn of pace here from.
That's the wild turn. That's the wild turn.
It is the wild turn. And you know what? I stand by it. Number 4 is "Crazy on You" by Heart. And then I go into some modern music here for my next several. I have "Navigating" by 21 Pilots. Then I have "Come Apart" by the Bluestones. "The Emptiness Machine" by Linkin Park. "Didn't I Love You" by the Black Keys. "Reptilia" from The Strokes. And then we're going back in time now on the other end. "Bullet with Butterfly Wings" by Smashing Pumpkins, "Interstate Love Song" by Stone Temple Pilots, and we're going to end it off with "Let's Go Crazy" by Prince.
Wow. All right. Well, that's about where I expected you to take this. So, I mean, you know, there was one curveball in there. I can't believe Smashing Pumpkins is on this playlist. But, other than that, all expected entries into the playlist.
All right.
Well, the phrase that I was given, which I forgot because we didn't record last week, so it had been a while. And normally what I do is I make the playlist or I create it in Spotify as soon as you send it, and then I fill it in later. And I forgot to do that this time. And then I asked Jesse, "Hey, can you remind me your phrase?" And instead of just reminding me the phrase, he sent me a screenshot of the text where he had texted the phrase. Felt a little snarky, gotta be honest.
I didn't even intend that, honestly.
Off-putting during the work.
Per my last email.
My phrase is I underestimated the support for Glorpy Beats. So I don't know, I had a cohesive vision and then I just kept adding songs I liked. And so I kind of changed my cohesive vision to be, these are all songs that I think are very much enhanced by the beats that they have. So we're going to start with, and unlike Jesse's playlist, which is cohesive, this is mostly cohesive.
Brother, I put Goofy Goober Rock into mine. There's no cohesion.
They're all like rock songs. These are not all the same genre, but I think it's a banger playlist. I listened to it when I was prepping for the pod, and I was like, damn, this slaps. We're going to start with "Rap Saved Me" by 21 Savage and Offset featuring Quavo. I don't even know if it's... I'm a 21 Savage guy. I don't even know if it's a good rap, but man, it's just like a beat that worms into your brain, and like you're like, I'll run that shit back. Next, of course, we naturally transition into "Psilocybin" by Jhené Aiko.
Yes.
A very trippy song. Again, I don't think it's her best work, but man, it just sticks with you. Of course, no playlist talking about beats that elevate the song would be complete without Pleaser by Tyga and Redacted. I don't support Boozy Badass. We also have Don't Smile by Sabrina Carpenter, which I do think holds up without the beat, but the beat really just like brings it to another level. We have ASAP Ferg's Plain Jane, which just got all-time beat. Put it in the rafters. I'm going to add What's Poppin' by Jack Harlow, who has caught some flack on this podcast for maybe not being... I think I inducted him into the Hall of Mid.
You did induct him into the Hall of Mid.
And his case is buoyed a lot by this song because it just hits. I have Pure Water by Mustard with the Migos.
Mustard.
Kind of have 2 Migos songs in here if you squint, but you're not. I actually Offset's in here 3 times. I just now realized that. So shout out to Offset. I have Myron by Lil Uzi Vert, which is kind of a mid rap, but bumps. Agnes by Glass Animals, which fits naturally in all this rap, but just super glorpy and gooey.
They have all the good stuff. Glorpiest beats.
I have Star Tender by A Boogie with the Hoodie. There are a lot of rap in here. If you don't listen to rap, you're not going to like this playlist. But I bring it back here with the vibes. I have Slide by Calvin Harris featuring Frank Ocean and Migos. Actually, the Migos are...
Brother!
Offset's in here. Offset's on 4 of these songs. Man gets carried. What can I say? I have a natural transition to Summer Bummer by Lana Del Rey.
Of course.
Of course. And then we end with Childish Gambino's Pop Thieves, Make It Feel Good.
Okay. Good playlist. For those of you that are new to the playlist game, if you're checking us out for the first time, if you head to our Instagram, and I do believe I'll be able to put it up on our Twitch here soon enough as well, we actually have these playlists available for you to listen to through our link tree, and you can click, you can save them, and we have a lot of fun with them. We do them almost every single week, so please feel free to go through, save them, see what we're listening to, and be on the lookout for more music. So we got a couple more games that you had ideas for. I'll go ahead and let you explain them. What is our first game that we have here?
Okay, so sometimes when I come up with games for this, I kind of Google some ideas and then go from there. These actually I thought of off the dome. So I was like, look at me growing as a host.
Yep.
So we're going to do a game of pop culture Would You Rather. So I tasked Jesse and I with coming up with 5 quick setups of choices from movies, TV, video games, comics, etc., that we're giving the other hosts. So I have 5 for Jesse, and Jesse has 5 for me. And they're pretty easy, would you rather? And the example that I gave was like, would you rather be Spider-Man or Superman? And they can be as hinged or unhinged as we want them to be. So Jesse, it was my idea, so I will ask you first. And I'm going to start you off with a very simple proposition.
Okay.
Would you rather be Spider-Man with organic webs that can't run out, but they come out of your wrist, or Spider-Man with fluid that you have to replace but doesn't come out of your body?
The convenience for actually fighting the organic is obviously a massive advantage, but I am very much a sensory person when it comes to my hands and arms. So I don't think I can handle it.
I gave you this one.
Yep. So I'm going with the non-organic webs, the ones.
You're going with cartridge.
Yeah, I'm going with cartridge, and it'll probably get me killed at some point because I am very bad at pacing myself. With anything, with food, with a Diet Dr. Pepper in front of me, I have zero concept of pacing. So it will be my downfall, but I also won't have the ick. So I think things will be better.
It's not going to be Rhino or Lizard. It's going to be some Tombstone goon that's going to hit you with a sewer grate, and that's just because you're out of web fluid. That's how you go.
It's going to be myself. I'm going to be halfway down Broadway, heading towards Times Square, and be like, oh, I got to catch a show, and I'm going to realize, oh, I'm going to just.
That street sign is going to delete the top half of your head when you just fall out of the sky.
Clean off. All right.
It's like when you play the Arkham games and whichever supervillain kills you or goon, they do the screen where they're taunting you, and it's just gonna be the blinking street cross sign being wait, over your corpse.
It's funny you say that because your first one here is: would you rather live in Spider-Man PS4's New York or Gotham in the Batman Arkham Knight universe?
You did not ask me this question. This makes my next question very funny. Jesse, would you believe that my second question for you is: would you rather live in Gotham City or Marvel's New York City? Okay, so I'll do yours first, and then you can do mine. I'm taking Spider-Man PS4. I feel like for the most part, you're relatively fine. Like there's occasionally some big stuff going on, but for the most part, like there's not a ton of crazy shit going on. I want nothing to do with Gotham City. Especially Arkham Gotham City, which has been both a war zone and a quarantined war zone. No, thank you. Also, they just built a prison city and thought that was going to work, and it did not. Choices were made. So I pitched you Gotham City or Marvel's New York City because on one hand, Gotham City you fear for your life on an everyday basis, but you don't face a lot of world-ending issues. But in Marvel's New York City, there's like a Kree invasion every other Thursday, and all the world-ending things happen there. You feel relatively safe walking the street. It's just like, is the world ending today? So which would you rather? That's hilarious. We had the same
That's
question.
so funny. If we're talking like MCU version of Marvel's New York, or just really, I guess any
any Marvel New York. That's where everything in Marvel happens in New York City.
I actually am gonna take Gotham, right? Because
wow.
For two reasons. One, I'm a pretty agreeable person, right? I feel like I can get along with some goons.
Don't matter to the Scarecrow.
And two. And two,
he does not care. Honestly, makes you more of a target.
And two, I don't go out after 6 p.m. most days. I am very much just sitting at home playing my video games. So I feel like a lot of stuff happens at nighttime in Gotham. So as long as I'm getting my DoorDash orders in, I think I'm okay. I really do. Actually, I don't even know why I said DoorDash. I hate DoorDash. We've talked about this on this pod. DoorDash is one of the...
hate DoorDash.
If I had a plane that had 2 seats in it that was hurling towards the sun that I could put anything in.
This is an insane metaphor.
I am putting DoorDash on that plane twice. Okay? They can go. The worst company that has ever existed.
The worst company? The United States Postal Service exists and you're saying that about DoorDash? That's preposterous.
It's personal. They know what they did.
All right, Jesse, what's your second one for me? It's probably my third for you.
This next one. Would you rather compete in a real-life Mario Kart Grand Prix or a real-life Mario Party?
Dude, you are fucking lying.
There's no way.
That's my fourth question for you. Play real-life Mario Kart or Mario Party? I gotta grab I literally knocked my hat off my head. Why do we even do this game? We should just create a shared note with all our... I felt like the five... Literally, guys, I will read you word for word what I said to Jesse. 5 quick... I already did. 5 quick setups of choices. Movies, TV, video games, comics, etc. You're giving the other host a pick. I.e., would you rather be Spider-Man or Superman? Literally infinite number of choices. And so far, we've been the same twice.
Absolute hive mind activity.
I think I would personally go with Mario Party just because I think playing all the minigames would be so fun. I think the actual gameplay of Mario Kart would be more fun. The race would just be pure adrenaline, but there's more variety in Mario Party with the minigames. So I think I would lean towards Mario Party.
I'm taking Mario Kart for that version of the question, and I mean, I drive on I-4 every day to go to work, so it's basically the same thing minus the shells. And,
yeah, I mean, yeah.
You know, it's a commute to me.
You're not driving I-4 right. I always pack weapons when I drive I-4.
You have to. You have to. You have to take care of yourself. But yeah, I'm taking Mario Kart just because I think I spent so much time playing Double Dash that I feel like it would be my element. All right.
I'm so terrified to ask you my third question.
Go ahead.
All right, Jesse.
Let's see what happens.
Would you rather see an Amazing Spider-Man 3 movie?
Yes.
Or would you rather see Into the Spider-Verse actually finish?
Oh my gosh! No!
You can't see both. You get one. You either get the movie that they tell us they're making, they swear it's just around the next page, or you get Amazing Spider-Man 3.
That was the only thing I think you could have said that would have made this a debate for myself in my own mind.
Yes.
And I'm going to give you an answer.
I know you. Yeah. Apparently too well.
Apparently way too well. And I do have an answer for that, and the answer is finishing the Spider-Verse trilogy. And
I figured, yeah.
I am picking that one because I do feel like I got a finality with No Way Home for Andrew's story. If No Way Home didn't exist, this would be a much tougher decision. As much as I love the TASM universe, but for this one, I have to see how the Spider-Verse ends. Because, one, it's such a unique work of art, and I think especially now with how AI-generated stuff is kind of taking over hand-drawn art, I really feel like the society needs it. It really needs it to stick the landing and to do well. And also, if it does well and it's like the first two, it's the best movie trilogy ever, in my opinion. I think it is a perfect work of art.
I have a little bit of fear that they're going to use AI to help finish the movie.
I really hope they don't, because it's perfect.
I hope not, yeah. But if they've just taken so long, I feel like the pressure is going to mount. I also just need the third soundtrack.
Correct.
Like, that's enough for me.
Bring back Metro and all is forgiven. Alrighty, my fourth question to you. Would you rather live the trauma of Darth Maul or Bucky Barnes? Whose trauma would you rather live?
God damn. Now, are you all trauma, or are you talking about the primary incident?
All
trauma. I don't know. That's tough. Because if it's just the main incident, it's easily Darth Maul because he gets cut in half, super tough. Right. But then he just gets robot legs and is fine. But he was also, his backstory is really bad.
It's bad.
Suffered a lot. I think I have to go with Bucky Barnes, mostly because I think for most of his assassination, you don't really retain all that.
Right.
You remember bits and pieces, and you did a lot of evil shit, but I think that you have more of a chance to take your trauma and form something positive, whereas Darth Maul is just endless suffering.
And I think I agree with you.
And also, the one thing that you're good at, which is being evil, is also endless suffering, because you're not even the most evil person out there, and that guy wants to kill you.
Right, you're not even good at being evil.
Darth Maul went from, could be, basically, runner-up to the throne of the galaxy to, he's basically selling lean out of his garage in the Star Wars universe. That's pretty much what he's doing. He's selling crack down the street, in the back alley of the universe. That's where he's at. So I think that I'm going to go with Bucky Barnes.
I think I agree with you on that one too, simply because of how their stories ended. And we do have that, foresight of knowing, Bucky's story is still being written, but he did get redeemed and he did get to live a life outside of it, whereas Darth Maul never really got it. Not the hard eyes for Bucky.
Bucky Omega dead, by the way, in Doomsday. There's nobody has ever been more deceased than James Buchanan Barnes in this upcoming Avengers movie. So dead that he may not even be in Secret Wars. I don't know. I haven't decided what I think they're going to do with Secret Wars yet, but probably bungle it. But
all right, so
deader than dead.
You have one more question for me?
I have one more. You said that was your fourth, but you might have two.
Oh, I do have two more. Yep, so I need to go again.
Okay.
I skipped one. Would you rather have Captain America's strength or the bendability of Reed Richards?
So this is not the same as my question, but it's pretty similar.
Oh my gosh.
I think the bendability of Reed Richards is just way more useful in an everyday situation. It would be sick to be super strong, but being able to do literally anything with my body is preposterous. And it's actually an angle. Sorry, I'm going to get on my soapbox here for a second. The Marvel Fantastic Four comics recently have really leaned into just being as weird as possible with Reed Richards. There's a recent issue where he was using his eyeballs like telescopes. They've really leaned into the body horror and the whatever you want him to do, he can do, which I love. I'm gonna go with Reed Richards. Your wife's got to stop thirsting in this chat. If you're an A-list comic actor, turn your location off. Ashlyn will find you.
My favorite Reed Richards moment ever is this old comic where he is a surfboard.
Yeah, that's a good that's a good one. I'm gonna find the Reed Richards eyeball telescope and see if I
Hey,
can
down
show
girl.
it. You type in Reed Richards eye. Yeah, dude, can you see this?
Please send that to me right now. I have a very good
Like,
joke for that.
he's just like living life, and I love it. So I'm gonna go with Reed Richards, because I think it's just more useful, in an everyday situation.
Alrighty.
Okay, so I have one more for you.
Yep.
Because we already talked about Mario Kart and Mario Party. That's why we were off. So would you rather have Wolverine's healing power but no other powers, or Jean Grey's mind reading that you struggle to control and no other powers?
I'm gonna go ahead and take Wolverine's healing here, because just I can barely get through the day with my own thoughts, let alone other people's thoughts. Shout out to Jean Grey, awesome character, but I'm gonna go with the healing aspect because it'd be really nice if I like stubbed my toe and like 2 seconds later, yeah.
I guess I meant to add the context is that you are a superhero. So you are Wolverine. You can heal like Wolverine, but you don't have any special powers, so you're just going to get the shit beat out of you until you can win. Or you're Jean Grey, and you can read their thoughts, but you don't have other superpowers. So you're like, if you're fighting somebody and you know, like, I'm about to throw a punch, like, you can try to dodge it, but you also still don't have, like, superpowers or any outside of that.
But you said I can't really control the mind reading?
Like, you can, but not to the point where you can, like, put your thoughts into their head or, like, overpower their thoughts. It's
that actually
just
does change
basically
my answer then. Because the healing doesn't do me any good. I'm not just going to be a punching bag. I think I could be protected if I was a part of a team, right? And be able to kind of like sequester myself and be like, oh, hey, they're going to try this ambush, by the way. I think that could be really effective in that regard. Okay. I am just the most glass cannon that's ever existed.
Yeah, a glass cannon is true. Like you're kind of like the opposite of a glass cannon. You have no power whatsoever, but boy, you're a bullet sponge in that situation. Yep. That's what you are.
I am a spotter at that point. I would do really well as a NASCAR spotter.
Yeah, that's true.
I think I do quite well.
All right, Justin, what's your last one for me?
All right, this is food related here. Would you rather eat a Krabby Patty or a rotisserie porg?
Dog, you know it's the porg. Those, bro, they look so tasty. I'm sorry. Just everybody think back to our Last Jedi. The porg on the rotisserie. I'm trying to Google it. They are rotisserieing one of their other brothers. Man, he looks delicious. I'm sorry. I just like.
My wife is crashing out in the chat.
Like, brother, like he looks so
look good, man. They
look tasty. I would feel bad about it, right?
Would you?
But a Krabby Patty is just like a burger. I don't know. It's just a burger to me, you know. Like that's good, but I can get that other places. I'm not eating porg off the street. You know, you got your vendor on the street, like porg sandwich, $7.99. Like I'm
on a stick, like in New York City.
A porg on a stick would go dummy. I'm sorry, Ashley.
All right, our last game here was another one that you came up with. I'll go ahead and read the rules. It's replace a job. And in the spirit of replacement refs, you can pick one set of people to be replacement level in the workplace. Pick 5 and explain yourself. All right.
And they can be sports or non-sports.
Yeah, so I got a mixture, actually, of sports and non-sports.
I have mostly non-sports, but I do... Actually, it's a mixture. Yeah, it's a mixture.
What is your first one?
Give me replacement pilots. When you get onto the plane, and I did specify that they could be for functionality or entertainment value, and then every single one of mine is for entertainment value. So, you know how you can be like assigned a seat on a flight, right? Like,
yeah.
In this scenario, you all get on the plane, and then they select a seat, and you are now the pilot of the plane. They have pilots, and they'll take off for you. but then you just have to fly to the destination.
That's tough.
I think it could be fun.
I think it could be fun. I think it could be. Alrighty, my first one. Give me proctologist. Give me a proctologist. I don't want a medical professional. I want someone that just has a can-do attitude towards butts. I think that would be a really interesting one.
A can-do attitude towards butts, he says. Replacement proctologist. You're a sick man. That this is where your brain went. You are a sick man.
All right, go ahead. What's your second one?
Yeah, let's say you don't count. You work in healthcare. Jesse wants like Joe Schmo off the street.
Yeah,
Jesse wants like a tax accountant that just last weekend popped a bottle of rosé and got adventurous with his wife and is like, I could do it. I could do it. I got billable hours. Yes, I take Blue Cross Blue Shield. Step right up, squat and cough. That's what Jesse's saying. That's what your brother-in-law is saying.
Yeah.
All right, my second replacement job. Give me replacement caddies on the golf course.
Yes.
I want Scotty Scheffler on the 18th green of the Masters. Really looking for he's looking at his shot. He needs a second opinion. He turns to you and he's like, "What do you think here?" And you got a guy that's like, I mean, it looks maybe left, like, and then he's like laying flat on the ground trying to get a read, and he's like, yeah, I don't know, man. I would just kind of aim for the bucket. If you hit it hard enough, the break won't matter.
Put it in the hole, right?
And they're all mic'd up. Just like grab like 18 patrons from the course for like, or not 18. There's 18 holes, not 18 golfers. Just grab like 72 patrons from the course, and Scotty Scheffler, Tiger Woods, everybody. Well, not Tiger Woods currently, but all the golfers. You got a replacement caddy. Knows nothing about golf. Knows enough about golf. He thinks he knows about golf. Doesn't actually.
Just watch the Masters a couple times. Yeah.
You got like the frat bros just wasted at the Waste Management Open, and they're like, "Yeah, man, I don't know. I'd go drive her off the deck here." What you want to do is take your hybrid.
All right, my second one. Give me the hairdresser. Just someone has no idea, not a clue what they're doing in the barber chair there. Mostly I would want to do it just so I can like pump the person up on the chair, right? I'd just be like, right? I'd be doing that all day, and then just riffing. Like they'd be coming in and be like, I want this fade, I want the highlights here. I'm like, I don't know what any of this means, but I guarantee you're gonna hate it. All right?
Yeah. Have you ever seen Coconut Head on Ned's Decline? It's like if that also had just like random patches missing.
Tim said that's already done at Great Clips.
And some of us go to Great Clips. They're not terrible.
It's mid clips, to be honest.
Sometimes it's medium clips.
I love having the chat.
Passable clips gets the job.
Passable clips is crazy.
All right, my third replacement job. Give me a replacement holder in an NFL game.
Oh gosh, I mean, it's
get
basically
somebody down there that doesn't know what they're doing.
Yep.
And you've got to. The caveat is that you can't just not kick the ball. Like you have to kick the ball in like some circumstances. And you've just got Joe Schmo who's like laces out, and then like because nothing is funnier to me in football. Not nothing, but very few things are funnier than a kick that just is dead on arrival. And that's what would happen with a lot of replacement holders.
All right, my third one also is football. Give me an NFL offensive lineman. Like I want some dude that's like 5'8", right?
Yeah, I was gonna do replacement.
65 pounds. I want him playing left tackle and trying to guard Myles Garrett on the outside.
See, this goes along with like something that I definitely think needs to be in the 2028 Olympics. We need an average person out there doing all these events so that we can really understand how insane what these people do is.
Yep. Add a lane to the track, add a lane to the pool. I need to see a regular person.
Myles Garrett would have 55 sacks against one of us. Like it's just not. Actually, he wouldn't, because on the second sack, they would be peeling us off the turf. The first sack, we would just get out of the way, and the second sack, we would literally not be quick enough because he would realize that we're jokes. And we would be like scooped up into a paste that's pulled off the turf.
All right, what's
All
your
right, my
next?
fourth one. Give me, and you can go either way on this. They're kind of the same. Give me replacement baristas and bartenders.
Oh, that's a good
I
one.
want to roll up to a Starbucks before this person starts their shift, grab my coffee, and I just kick back and watch Gerald from the auto mechanics shop down the street just completely fuck up a blended latte.
Yep.
Like, I mean, just like has no idea what he's
Not
doing
a
back
clue.
there.
Not even a coffee
And then
drinker. Like, just.
And then that night, I'm at the club and I'm watching Janet from accounting just have no idea what goes in a Costco. And just like the Paula Deen meme of one shot of vodka and it's like and it's just that, but like it's just a Long Island iced tea at Applebee's. That just it's just iced tea and like vodka.
I'm 100% here for that, and also for the ones that are the baristas, it needs to be the people who treat the service industry folks the worst. Put them in there first with no help at all. Put them back there and let them run it and see what happens. And then
that's that U espresso.
Alrighty, my next one. Give me an MLB catcher. I want just some regular dude from accounting having to catch a Mason Miller 104.
Every example we give, we just keep saying accounting.
Just some regular office desk job guy coming in to catch a Mason Miller 104 with movements. I gotta see. They're gonna die, but there's gonna be a hole through the chest protector coming out the other side and hitting the umpire.
It's like that classic tweet. I think I probably mentioned it when we did our like favorite tweets episode. Of like, you know, like the guy that thinks he can play tennis against Serena Williams and he laughs is like, and she smiles, is like, she's prettier when she smiles. She serves the ball and it passes cleanly through my skull at 120 miles an hour, killing me instantly. That's exactly what would happen with the MLB replacement catcher. My final one, give me a replacement wedding DJ.
Ooh.
Give me somebody who has no idea how to operate the equipment, attempting to mix the songs together.
I love that.
I think that just like, all right, we've heard the DJ scratch now for 30 seconds as he's trying to click skip on his laptop.
It was like us trying to figure out the audio for the stream.
Honestly, very much so. Give me the replacement podcast host.
Mine too as well.
It can't be worse.
Alrighty, you kind of alluded to a similar one earlier in yours. My last one, give me the air traffic controller. Just
yes, aviation.
Yes, give me the air traffic controller. Just someone who has no idea. I want to see Joe Schmo land a plane, walk them through a storm, a headwind. Give me someone that has no clue what they're doing. Tell them what runway to go on and try to land this thing.
Pilot's like, are we cleared for landing? And he's like, yeah. And they're like, okay, so which strip? And the guy's like, I just pick an open one, man. Like.
Yeah, just.
What are you waiting for? Just like wherever's open.
Which one do you see?
Seat yourself. You know.
It's like Southwest used to be, open seating. Just go ahead.
Open seating. It's like open runways. I like that. Did you have any honorable mention? This is wild, but we played 2 games and I don't think I had a single honorable mentions
for this.
Did we follow the rules of the podcast?
I think we followed the rules of the podcast. Look at us.
Look at us. A new platform, new rules. Surely this will be made.
All of a sudden.
I was talking yesterday about the episode where we did the pizza toppings draft.
Yes.
And I was like, I'm pretty sure we made 5 selections each and then like 3 additional bonus.
Correct, we did. We just kept going.
We've never been good at following the rules. All right, Jesse, we're here at the conclusion of the podcast. We have one more segment here. It's called the takeout. You know, we're just trying some takes out. If you got something you kind of want to, like a medium take, you're kind of building and you're not quite sure you're ready to die on it yet, but you're starting to come around to it. And for a rare time in my life, don't have anything that popped to my mind that I wanted to throw a take out. My take was just gonna be a little bit about the tournament, but we kind of already talked about that. So, Jesse, did you have a take that you wanted to try out?
I do, and plenty of time left. There's a lot of stuff that's going to come out later this year, but I'm ready to crown Pokemon Pokopia as the game of the year. I really am. And you know me, I love a good cozy game. I think they're relaxing, does something to my psyche, does something to my anxiety. It does, great things. But to me, it combines elements of Animal Crossing, Disney's Dreamlight Valley, and Minecraft in kind of meshes them into a way that just makes sense. And one of the things that I love most about it is that it is so cohesive, whether you're playing on the dock for the Switch 2 or you're playing it handheld. And it's just such a well-made game. I haven't really had any glitch issues. It's just, as soon as I got it, I was playing it, and it was ready to go. I've already put in 15 hours. I know some people have, a couple hundred hours in already, but I got a job, so, my time is limited.
Yeah, I saw somebody that built a shopping mall. Like insane. A functioning shopping mall.
Insane. And trust me, I would love for this to be my job. I would love to come on here every day and stream Pocopia, but we're going to need more than our 4 folks here.
I think we needed more than blood relative listeners, which we had a couple. Shout out to the strays that got here.
The strays that came in, gave us a quick comment. We appreciated it. But yeah, I think I'm ready to give it Game of the Year so far. It's going to take a lot. I know we got a 007 game coming up. I know we got Yoshi and a Mysterious Book coming up. But, for me, I'm really feeling Pocopia's Game of the Year.
All right, I asked a friend recently. I don't have a Switch 2, and so I was feeling left out of Pocopia, so I started replaying Pokemon Legends Arceus, and I asked if that was sad, and he said yes. So that's where I'm at right now. I've been playing a lot of Mario Odyssey.
It's a great game.
I don't know. I got it when it came out, or not when it came out, but not long after, and then I just never finished it. I think Fire Emblem or something else came out around the same time, and I just consumed my life. But I played a lot of Odyssey this week. So Pocopia looks amazing. I can't wait for 8 years from now when I finally get my hands on a Switch 2 to try it out.
Brother, this summer when you come down for Allison's wedding, you are playing.
Well, I mean, yes, but I don't know if it's my Spider-Man stint where I just locked myself into your apartment and played all of the PS4 Spider-Man story.
I don't know if Allison's still in here. I would say we could just skip and we'll see if she notices. I am her wedding photographer.
Let's take long bathroom breaks.
Yeah, I am her wedding photographer.
I'm unaffiliated. You know I'll keep that thing on me.
Oh yeah. You always stay strapped.
I don't know. I feel such at a loss for words that I don't have a take. I mean, I know I have takes. They're just I don't know. They're not bubbling.
Not bubbling
right now.
Hey, if you're not feeling passionate about it, that's fine.
I got the passion. I don't have the vision right now. I guess I don't know. Right. I feel there was something I was excessively mad about yesterday that I wanted to talk about, but the moment passed, I guess.
While you mull that, folks, this has been our first live episode, and we will upload this later on to our different platforms, and we're very excited about this next chapter. We're going to try to do it around the same time each week. I think Thursdays work well for us around this time, and come and sit and talk ball with us. But if you can't catch us, we'll be uploading it to our normal platforms. But we really want to make this channel more than just the pod at some points, so you might see sometimes that if you get notification, if you're following us, you might see notification that one of us is on. We'll both have access to this account. Maybe we'll be streaming a game or something. Maybe Ben's going to be streaming Odyssey or something. Maybe I'll stream some Pocopia. Sometimes we'll do something together. Maybe we'll rebuild a team on NBA 2K or something. But those will be more intermittent, whereas our podcast will stay consistent.
Yeah.
I'm excited, though.
We want to expand our growing media empire.
Exactly.
Really capitalize on the momentum that
they've been clamoring.
Yeah. Honestly, it's just fun to hang out with you. So when we rebuild Marshall, that's going to bring eyeballs.
It really is.
I think I'm going to throw a take out because now we're talking and I've formulated a take that I haven't committed to. I think We Are Marshall's the best sports movie.
Ooh, okay. I'm with you.
I think there's a lot of great ones out there. I don't think any of them have made me feel the way We Are Marshall has. People will say The Blind Side. They'll say Hoosiers. They'll say Remember the Titans. Dude, We Are Marshall. I cry every time like a baby
movie.
Watching We Are Marshall. It's so good. And I think it's McConaughey's best work, honestly. He's just so believable.
I love Interstellar, so I'm going to be impartial.
Anthony Mackie doing the classic Anthony Mackie face before it's even a thing. It's so good. Interstellar is probably his actual best work, but he's so good at being the hokey football coach. There's my takeout is I think Where Marshall's the best sports movie.
I'm thinking for mine, obviously Hoosiers is going to be up there for me, but The sports movie that has stuck with me the longest, I think, is 42, the Jackie Robinson movie.
42 is a fire movie.
Yes, with
That is
Chadwick
really
Boseman. That one stuck with me the longest, and one of the coolest things that I got to experience just exploring New York City in the 1,000 times that I go there, because I just like consistency. But one time my father-in-law Tim and I were just walking around, and we stumbled upon the building that Jackie Robinson actually signed his first contract, and they got a little plaque outside of it. It's like an apartment complex now, but they had the plaque just sitting right there, and I'm like, oh, that's really cool.
Back before the Dodgers were evil.
Right. Back when they still had a pulse and a heart. But yeah, that's our episode for this week. Ben, you got any last second things?
Honorable mention sports movies.
Got any last second thoughts before we sign off?
No, I'm excited to. I don't know what you guys got going on this weekend, but we're going to be in Tuscaloosa, rooting on the Tide, playing the Texas Longhorns, play in a 1-4 softball matchup. Texas is the number 1 team in the nation. Don't check the score from tonight. And Alabama is number 4. And I haven't been to the Rhodes House as a fan in a long time. I covered the softball team in college, so I've sat in the press box a lot. But we're going to be in the outfield. I've got my Montana Fouts. This is just my football jersey, but I'll be rocking my Montana Fouts jersey. They're giving away Alabama cowboy hats to the fans. It's going to be a fun time. I'm really looking forward to it.
Who was 17 on the football team? Waddle?
Waddle wore 17. We've had a couple. It's an Alabama jersey, so there's no name on the back right now. Yeah. Well, I guess some of the newer ones might, but this was pre-NIL. I also think I want to take a brief moment. My wife and I are celebrating our 1-year wedding anniversary on Sunday.
Yes.
The only way that we know how, which is waking up in a place that we don't live in and driving back home and hitting some sort of fast food, probably cookout. And having it not be about us, which we will do something special, just the two of us. But I think I think it's so emblematic of our relationship that, it's our 1-year wedding anniversary. We're just going to be waking up in an Airbnb in Tuscaloosa with our pals.
I love that, though. So, I don't think there's really any other way I think I could draw that up for the two of you. Just going out and experiencing life. So obviously, congratulations to you guys.
That's crazy, right? 1 year ago.
Yeah, it went really
1 year ago today. You guys got in on the 3rd.
Yeah.
You got in the 4th.
Yeah, we got in the day before.
You guys got in the morning of the 4th. No.
The morning of the 3rd.
Morning of the 3rd.
Yeah, because we left. Yeah, we stayed in Tallahassee on the 2nd, so we were on our way up at this point.
I have to look back at my camera roll. What was I doing on the 2nd? I think that was we were doing a lot of the florals. That's fun. Yeah, crazy to think about. But anyway, that's all I got.
All right. Well, peace out, y'all. We will catch you all next week. This has been awesome. We love the chat. Thank you guys for participating with us, and we will catch you next time.
Yeah. See y'all.